Welcome back to the second part of the sales copy worksheet. So today I'm just going to take you through these questions again. All of the questions in this part of the worksheet pertain to the Mega Sales Letter script, which is going to be the main body of the sales copy on your landing page or the first page of the funnel. So these do get quite detailed, and some of them are super easy. You're just going to breeze past them. Some of them take a little bit of thought, but there shouldn't really be anything too far away from what we've already done. In fact, you may see questions that are basically the same, so you can feel free to fill them in the same or think of a different variation. And as always, what we fill in here is just going to serve as the basis for a rough draft, which we'll present to you after you're done with all the sales copy worksheets, of which there will be 4. And then it'll be up to you to edit it to make it work. So if you don't get something quite right in this initial go, you'll get a chance to fix it later on. The first question is, what is your name? So that's you. My name is blank. That should be pretty easy. Use your full SEO name for that. So whatever your website is. Your avatar's name. This is a made-up name for them that will be used throughout, but it could be any name. So whatever you visualize, Frank, John, Lucy, whatever. Okay, avatar's pronoun is he, she, they. Any one of those would make sense. So if if you're marketing to a man or a woman, you would use he or she. If not, just use they. The next one, personal pronouns. So this is the other form, him, her, them, right? So choose the one that matches with what you put in the previous box. And lastly, possessive, so his, her, their, right? So this is all like a Mad Lib system, so we got to get these right, the different forms right. Otherwise, you're going to get a grammatically incorrect sentence out. But all 3 of these should basically match, so those should be easy. What is your avatar's current identity? So this is a phrase like, could be simple as struggling, beginner investor, real estate agent. This is a group that they would consider themselves already to be part of. So this isn't a group that we made up for them necessarily, unless they can identify themselves as part of it immediately just by seeing the word. So be as specific as you can based on all the avatar research that we've done in the past. But not so specific that they don't know what you're talking about. They being your potential customer who has no previous interaction with your work at all. You can't assume that they've read anything. You can't assume that they watched the video. Right? These are people right off the street or right off of Facebook that are just seeing this word for the first time. And then the next one is the same thing about Pearl. Once again, Mad Lib. So just put the multiple person form of what you put in the last box. So next is your avatar's ideal identity, and this should answer the question, ultimately my ideal customer wants to be a blank, right? So a millionaire investor, it could be, narcissist free, it could be have a wonderful love life. This is what they're aiming to be, not what they are now. And once again, something that they should know already that they want, not something that you would have to train them or have viewed your work to necessarily know that that's what they're going for. Next question, what is your avatar's number 1 most important area of focus? So this should only be 2 to 3 words, and it should fit in the form, my ideal customer's number 1 area of focus is blank. So ebook promotion, stock market research, lead generation, finding a husband or wife, anything in that form would work perfectly. Then the second one, number 2 area. So this is going to give you some variation in what it writes. So you're going to choose another thing, not necessarily related to the first, that you would put in here. So when I say not necessarily related, I mean they should be something that you could list out or see listed out on a page and make sense that you would want both of them. So examples, content marketing, stock opportunity analysis, networking skills, etc. So next question. What is your avatar's number 1 long-term desire? Fitting the form, my ideal customer really wants to blank, and this needs to start with a verb to fit in with the rest of the words around it. So example, stop working for a boss, find great deals consistently, make 6 figures. And so this can be linked to the previous area of focus, right? So we're kind of reiterating the same stuff with ideally different wording so that when it comes out, it seems like it's written well. Next question, what is your avatar's number 2 long-term desire? Same thing, you're just doing a different variation, ideally maybe hitting a different pain point or a different goal that's related to the first but not exactly the same. Okay, now we're getting to a segment where we're actually going to go through what results your avatar wants immediately. They have their long-term goal, and that's in the future, but what do they need this week, today, this month? And it needs to fit in the form of, right now, my ideal customer wants to blank. So make more book sales, find a good deal, find a great buyer, find more clients, find a partner to have sex with, whatever you're teaching, that would need to go in there. And there's actually 3 of them. All right, so these need to be different enough to where if you saw them listed on page one right after the other, you wouldn't seem like you're just saying the same thing over and over again, but it can still hit the same kind of pain points. So if you're going to do, get more book sales, then you could get more newsletter subscribers. You could say stop spending so much on ads, right? These are all things that a book author would want to have all 3 at the same time. So that takes care of result number 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3. So the next 3. So then we go down to who is your avatar's enemies, or who are your avatar's enemies, and it should fit in the form blank are my ideal customers' enemies in the plural form. So traditional publishers, TV talk show analysis, part-time agents. I think we did something like this in the previous one, so you might be able to just reuse that. But if I didn't say it then, it should be clear that these aren't necessarily people that they hate. If they hate people, then that would be perfect to put in there. But these are people that they just don't feel your clients won't necessarily feel like have their best interest in mind, or that they want to avoid. So if you're teaching somebody to lose weight, you might say their enemies would be the dietitians or personal trainers. People that are not what your client would ideally want to work with. So now we're getting into the problems that your avatar has, and there's going to be 3 of the same form. Once again, we're choosing 3 different ones, ones that are different enough that they could be on the same page and fit well together without seeming like you're just repeating yourself. And it needs to fit in the form. My ideal customer really needs to figure out how to blank. So examples: get more exposure, find deals with low risk, prospect for a new business constantly. I found that this can be a bit longer, maybe like 5-10 words, but you don't want to go on a long dissertation in these problems. It should fit relatively, if you tacked it on the end of that sentence, my ideal customer really needs to figure out a blank, it should look like a normal size sentence. You don't want to put periods or anything extra in there. Yeah, so if you have your avatar worksheet up, you've probably actually already identified these. And so you would just put them word them in the proper form to fit in this Mad Lib and move on. And then we're doing that for all 3. So next we're going to pain points. So how is a pain point different than a problem? Well, a pain point is something that they don't necessarily need to solve, but it's just like obstacle in their way to getting the goals that we stated above, right? So Amazon is super crowded with competing authors. Everybody seems able to find great deals. All my partners or prospective partners already have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or are married. There's the dating pool of my age doesn't seem to have any people that have my same interests. These are all the kind of things that you might look at, or I just don't seem to have the time. Perfect. I don't seem to have the time actually works for almost anybody's course, so that would be something you can throw in there as a freebie. But so once again, it fits the format. My ideal customer is really frustrated by the fact that blank can be a bit longer, 5 to 10 words, but not super long. And all 3 of these need to make sense on the page together. So you wouldn't want to just restate the same thing. You would want to make it word it differently enough that it would look good in a sequence. All right, so we're doing 3 of those, and there's lots of examples below these that you can read if you're thinking of things or trying to figure out how to make it fit in there. And then now we're going to the question section. So once again, a series of 3. They should work together. What is a critical question your avatar needs answered so they can move forward? And it shouldn't fit in the form. A question my ideal customer really needs answered is blank. Example: how do I build a real business around my book? How do I know if my stock is a good investment or not? Where is the best place to look for new buyer or seller leads? That kind of stuff. So once again, a bit longer. This is information that your avatar is dying to know where it is, right? And even if it's something that is kind of obvious, if they're still, or maybe obvious to us, but if they're still confused about it, this is the stuff that is on the tip of their tongue. So it's not necessarily the right questions to be asking. And we find that beginners or clients coming to us for the first time, oftentimes they're asking questions that are completely wrong. But that's okay. What we're answering here is or we're listing here is the questions that a new person coming in would have. And you find if you do the research or you work with new clients a lot, you tend to get the same questions over and over again. So probably for most of us that have been doing this, whatever our field is for a while, you'll know what these are immediately. If not, go back to one of the earlier segments where I talk about how to do research on Facebook. Beginners groups in whatever area you're talking about are great places to comb for these kind of questions, because you see them come up over and over and over again. So we're answering 3 of those questions, and we're then moving down to roadblocks, again, which there are 3. So an objection or roadblock is what prevents your avatar from moving forward and fulfills the or fits into the sentence structure. My ideal customer is hung up by the idea that blank. Right, so examples: selling is sleazy, manipulative. Most great deals must come from insider trading or special knowledge. The market is too crowded. With other agents who'll say do anything to get a deal. All right, so now we're just listing why they think they can't succeed. And this is kind of similar to the pain points that we talked about earlier, right? But pain points are reasons why it feels difficult to move forward. These are like, well, not necessarily emotional blocks, but these are actual like, well, I just can't do it. I just don't have the money. I just don't have the expertise. There's too many people competing, that kind of stuff. So you can reuse, if there's a pain point that basically fits into this as well, then no problem. You can rephrase it, reuse it in here, but the 3 roadblocks in this section should be unique enough that they fit together on the page, just like everything else we've done. So fill in all 3 of those. And then we get to the bottom line results segments. So once again, the 3 of them, and it should answer or fit into the sentence: in a perfect world, my ideal customer wants to be able to blank, right? So the lead into this is, when it's all said and done, what does your avatar want to be able to do? An example: live in the dream lifestyle with a successful author, reach financial freedom. So this is what it feels like to have reached the results that, like the what they imagine themselves doing, or what they imagine themselves being like when they've reached these results. So purely speculative. It doesn't even necessarily need to match what reality is there, because we're fueling their dreams based on their preconceptions. And so if we need to train them throughout the course, okay, when you get there, it's not actually going to look like this. Like, most millionaires don't spend all day lounging on the golf course. Like, there's responsibilities that come with it. This is not the place to talk about that, because they're not going to connect with it because they have no idea what you're talking about, right? That's for later on. Now we're meeting them where they are, and we're listening to their dreams, and we're repeating it back to them. Say, yes, we understand where you want to go with this, and we're going to help you to get the most that you can in this direction. So yeah, once again, 3 of those. Don't repeat too much. You want different enough that they look good on the page together. Okay, on to the next section. Now we're taking a shift, because before we've started, as ethical salespeople do, with what our customers need, what their wants are, what their roadblocks are to getting to their ultimate goals, right? So we lead in with what the customer is looking for, because 1, we want to filter out people that aren't the right fit for this product. And 2, we want people to know that our ideal customers have reached the place where they can get the results that they're looking for, and we're making this all about them, not what we want. So now we're offering, hey, we've heard you. This is the solution to your problem, or this is part of the solution. This will help you get out of the problem you're in to the problem you're at. Now we are presenting them with the product. So to start out, it's just the name and title of your product. This should be your easy yes main product, not the bonuses, not any of the other $200, not the one-click upsell, the bonus product on the first page, the $20-ish product, right? It's just the main easy yes product title that you should have already defined before now. So easy. Next thing is, what are you sending them to? So I'm inviting you to check out a blank. This is, what is the thing you're selling? Is it a course, probably, or like a mini course, or a webinar, or a class? Is it software, book, ebook, free report, just a physical book, right? This is just to cue them up to know this is what you're going to get when you buy it. Now we're getting into, why would they want to buy this product? And we're going to give them 3 big benefits, which are all fit in the same form. So it should answer or should fit into the sentence structure of my offer helps customers blank, and it starts with a verb. So become an Amazon bestseller in 2 days, get double-digit returns on your investment, so on and so forth. So you've already outlined like the basic of your main product and of the course that you're working towards. And if you follow our system, right, the 1 hour product or the EasyS product is just a short version of your larger course, right? So if they've done the course and they followed what you said to do, what are they going to get from this? So these benefits are key, and we have done some of this type of stuff in the previous bullet scripts specifically. So feel free to reuse those bullet benefits in this segment if they make sense, or rewrite them to fit into the form that works here. So once you finish those 3 benefits, you can move down to the results. Right, so the results are actually, okay, so they kind of seem similar to a benefit. But what is a result? A result is something measurable that you're actually going to see or feel when you get there, right? So, and you can actually maybe reword one of the previous benefits if it makes sense. I wouldn't use exactly the same words, but ideally you'd want something completely different. So this fits in the form of the number 1 outrageously amazing result you get from this is that you can now blank. And right, so we're only doing 1 of these. So this should be the big take-home message. If all your potential client heard was this product makes you blank, right? If you're doing a weight loss one, it should definitely be lose weight easily, something along those lines, right? So if you have a more complex product that you're working on, then you might need to distill it down to 1 core thing, but this is the key take home. So this one's very important. You need to get this one right for what your customer wants and what you're able to offer. Next one is number 1, pain. So we've talked about a bunch of pain points. This should be the number 1 thing that they want to avoid, and it should fit in the sentence pattern. You can have it all without blank, starting with a verb with ing. So having to write a new book every week, making high-risk investments that really pay off, working 60 hours a week, etc., etc. So it's important for this one that the form is correct, verb ending in ing at the start. And this should, once again, it could be a repeat or a reword of the other pain points, but this is the key one, the key take home that they're avoiding. And that's it for this week. So not too tough. Feel free to, of course, work through this and readjust these as you, if you think of new things in the future, you can go back and readjust this worksheet. We won't actually be pulling these results until you finish worksheet 4 in 2 weeks from now. And then all of this will get computed and crunched together, and I'll give you a bunch of marketing copy to use for when we actually make the funnels.